have just gotten done taking the EMPT, and I wanted to just make a video to go over some of the results and what they mean. So we know that in the units folder in Blackboard, all the EMPT resources are right here, and the information to take the test is right here. But I want you to, we're scrolling down here beneath all that information to kind of disseminate what all of the placement levels mean. So when we look at the placement levels, you fall into one of two categories. You're either a D level or a C level. So D means developmental, and that means that you are at still a high school level in terms of your understanding of math. And the C levels are what we call the collegiate level. And that basically means that you would get placed into a college level math course, and then the different levels within the C category tells you what level of college math you'd be placed in. Now, these math placement levels are for the UW system math placement test. So that's what this says up here, UW system placement test levels. And so this applies to any UW system school, but it also is really similar to the guidelines that most of the private colleges and universities in the state of Wisconsin follow as well. So the idea then is, obviously you have to work on your math skills and get those all shored up. But the other thing is to know about the EMPT placement tests and how to kind of play the game, because there is a component of that as well. And so we're going to talk about the component of playing the game here. So to get into a collegiate level placement, they look at the first part of the test. So for the EMPT is the practice test that we've been taking, that we take here at school, and it's a 40-question test. And so the criteria to place at a college level is right here. You have to get 10 of the first 17 questions correct. And if you do that, then you place at a C1. It doesn't matter what you do on the rest of the test. You could fill it in randomly if you wanted to. I don't recommend it, but you would still test at a C1 level. And so the idea then is, after question 17, they ask you, the math questions are just there to determine whether you should be a C1, 2, 3, or 4. So that's how you kind of play the game too, to make sure that you focus on the beginning of the test, just to make sure that you get a collegiate level placement. If you place at a developmental level, that means you have to take remedial math classes, high school level math classes, and you have to pay for them, but you don't get credit and you don't get a grade for them until you can get to a collegiate level of competency. So that's why we really want you to place at a C1 level. If you want additional practice, there below here, again, I'm still in Blackboard, but below the bottom of this EMPT page is a full-length placement test. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about the full-length test. The full-length test is really, I think it's 85 questions. So it's a little over twice what we practice with. And so here's a full-length practice test. It comes complete with an answer key if you want to get that full-length experience in preparation for your math placement test. Okay, let's talk about preparing you for the actual test. So this is, again, any UW system school will use this placement test, as well as there actually are private colleges and universities in the state of Wisconsin that also use the same placement test. The UW system lets other colleges and universities use it. But either way, if it's a private college or university, they have something similar. The test is timed. For the UW system, you can only use a scientific calculator. So you can't use a graphing calculator. They won't let you. If you walk in with one, they won't let you use it. You need a scientific calculator. So that's the ones with the little screens that you can't graph with. And if you remember, we have scientific calculators at North. We give them out when you take your ACT. And if you want to borrow one of those, get in contact with me, and we can get one for you. The actual test is 85 questions, all multiple choice. And so if we look at the practice, right? The practice is getting 10 of the first 17 correct. Well, since this is basically twice as much, you have to get 20 of the first 34 questions correct to get to a collegiate placement. So 20 out of 34. And again, this is a long test. So if you only want to do the first 34 questions so you can focus on getting 20 of them correct to nail that C1 placement, then it's an okay priority to do. That's all about playing the game here. And then you can pick and choose what you want to do after question 34. But the other thing I want to caution you is that you want to be sure to answer every one of those multiple choice questions. There's no penalty for guessing, and you just might pick a correct answer. So if you're running out of time, just pick a letter. Maybe you're going to pick letter B and just answer the rest of them with letter B. Or maybe you want to pick letter D and answer the rest with letter D. Pick one letter and then fill in the rest if you're running out of time. So the other thing is, you want to go in as an experienced consumer, so to speak, as you go into this placement test anywhere. So what you want to do is you want to ask the testing center when you make your appointment about the test. Okay, ask them if there's any practice available, what you have to score, maybe what you can bring in with you, how long it is. Ask all those questions. They'll probably refer you to a website to get all the information you want about the test. Schools are usually pretty transparent in giving you that information, but they only give it to you when you ask for it. So make sure you do that when you're setting up your placement tests. Also, let's take a little deeper dive here. So the practice test, remember I said of the first 17 questions, you must get 10 right. That'll get you a C1 level. If you want to dig deeper in questions 18 through 40, that first 17 is what we call math fundamentals. It's just like computation. The second set of questions from 18 to 31 is the advanced algebra questions. So you need 6 of those correct to get to a C2 level. And then the remaining ones are questions about trigonometry. And you need to get 5 of those correct to get to a C3 level. And there's also C4 level, and that just means you get more of the trig correct. So that's, if you want to dig deeper into the remaining tests, those are the numbers you need to shoot for. So your numbers are in Infinite Campus right now, and as well as your placement. And so you'll see in the comments, you'll see a 10 out of 17 and a 4 out of 14, I believe it is, and a 3 out of 9, I think it is. So you'll see that information, so you can see your individual scores for these individual areas of the test. So that's the practice. The actual placement numbers. So if we look at the top here, this is the practice. This is the actual test. So this is the practice for the fundamentals. This is the actual fundamentals. So now when you actually go in to take that placement test for the UW system school you're going to shoot for 20 of the first 34 questions. And then if you want to dig deeper, then the next set of questions, you want to make sure you get 12 of those correct. And then if you dig deeper yet, these last set of questions, you want to also make sure you get 12 correct. That will, if you're doing this well, what they're telling you here in C3 is you're ready for calculus. So those are the actual numbers for the UW system math placement test. If you have any questions let me know. If you want to check out a calculator for your actual test, let me know. I can get that to you. Remember, if you want extra practice and preparation, it's right here at the bottom of the EMPT resources file folder, which is right here at the top of our units section in Blackboard.